Howdy folks, my name is Logan, and welcome back to another World of Warcraft video. Today's video, we're actually going to step away a little bit from class guides and user interface types of things, and we're actually going to step outside of the game a little bit. But what do I mean by that? Well, we're going to actually take information from our character and then determine what's best for it. We're going to optimize it. And the more astute of you might realize that I'm talking about simulations in SimCraft. But for those of you who aren't familiar with it, or that just the idea of simulation craft or running sims kind of scares you a little bit, don't. It's super easy. And the thing is, with the way DPS works in Legion, the way class balance is set up at the moment and gear scaling, if you are not running sims on your character and you don't know what talents and what gear is your absolute best, if you're just going straight off item level even, which is horrible, don't do that. If you're going straight off item level and you're not using sims, you are playing this game incorrectly at the way that it works right now. So fortunately, it's super easy to fix that though. So let's learn how to do that today. Let's get started before I talked anymore. All right. So the first thing you're going to want to do before we go anywhere is download one add-on. You'll need one add-on to make all of this work. And that add-on is called Simulation Craft. So simply just go to open your Twitch client or go to Curse or whatever you normally do. Find the Simulation Craft add-on, download it, install it. You're all done. So once that is done though, once you have done that, you'll be able to open up your game and in your chat bar type /simc. And when you open it, you'll have this big block of text. And this is what we want. This is what we're after right here. And this is every bit of information that there is about our character. Our artifact, what talents we're taking, what spec and stuff, obviously. Our gear, war forges, titan forges, gems, enchants, and everything in our bags. This is very important. This is why you need the add-on, so that it reads your bags. And if you go to your bank and open up your bank and then type in /simc, you'll actually get all the data out of there as well. But that's not necessarily what we need to be doing today. So once this is open and everything's highlighted, if it's not highlighted, just click Control A and then Control C. For you Mac users out there, you're just copying it, highlighting it all and copying it. I'm not a Mac user, so you're on your own on that one. But so then we just click OK and we're done. And now we're going to then open up a internet browser, in this case using Google Chrome. And now we're going to type in www.raidbots.com. And now this is where the magic's all gonna happen here. So what is this? You might be thinking, well, I thought we were gonna run simulation craft. Don't we need a program for that? No, you don't. You can do that, and that's the old-fashioned way of doing it, but there's this website called called RaidBots, where an individual has set up and is running simulation craft on a whole bunch of servers, and then you can come in here and set this stuff up much easier than you ever could before with simulation craft. This site is just using simulation craft and making it easier for you to use, so that you can do what you want to do. So anyway, so you got all these options here: stat weights, top gear, quick sim, gear compare, relic compare, talent compare, and advanced. So just to start off real quick and show you how this works, we're just going to click stat weights. So this is say you're pretty confident in what you got and you just want to see your stat weights. So here you can actually load stuff in from the WoW armory, but we don't really want to do that. We want to go to where it says load from SimC add-on. Put our cursor inside of that box and then just paste it in. So press Control V to paste it in. There's that thing we just copied. All right, and then we're pretty much done. Now here are simulation options, and you may have to expand these options so that you can see them. But see, and then you just have iterations, fight style, number of bosses, fight length, and that kind of stuff. So the number of iterations means it's going to simulate it's going to simulate our character or your character 10,000 times. That way it has a nice big number, a big pool of data, so that it can find the average or the median number. The fight style, we have all these different options here. Patchwork simply means you are standing completely 100% stationary You never ever have to move. This is the ideal perfect world scenario. And when I say perfect world, I mean it will never be possible. Alright, but there are other options here. Patchwork, which is the stationary one. Then we have hectic, add cleave, light movement, heavy movement. And I encourage you actually to mess around with a number of these. But for now, I'm just going to stick with patchwork. We're going to test it against one boss, so single target. Fight length, 5 minutes, probably a good average. And then we're pretty much done. So now I'm just going to click generate stat weights. And it sends all my information to its servers. And as soon as it's done processing, it will then tell me my stat weights. It'll be as easy as that. And sometimes it can take a little bit longer than you would expect. And I should mention also that I am actually a patron of RaidBots because I use it all the time. But you do not have to be whatsoever. You do not have to be a patron for RaidBots. But anyways, here we are. These are my stat weights for my Warlock. And then I would be able to go, okay, so I need more haste and all that kind of stuff. Done. Easy as that. But let's say I wasn't sure about talents. Let's go over here to talents. So I'm gonna make sure this is right. Erase what's in there just to make sure that it's fresh. And I'm gonna repaste in what we already have. So let's test some different talents here. So let's say I'm gonna use Malefic Grasp, and I am using the Warlock Ring. So I have one of the talents already, but Contagion, Demonic Circle really doesn't matter too much. Let's test Phantom Singularity versus Soul Harvest, because I, at the moment, have Soul Harvest talented. We'll take that, and then we'll take Siphon Life, and then we'll add another talent set. How about that? Let's go Writhe in Agony, Absolute Corruption. We're just kind of going off the wall now. Doesn't really matter too much. We'll try Soul Conduit, and that's enough for now. You can keep adding more and more talent sets and see how things go. So let's compare our talents now. And this is another super handy thing, especially if you're maybe just capped a character. You're not sure what talents are best for you at your item level. This can be a great way to get started. So there we go. Turns out, what do you know? My current talents are my best talents. Easy as that. See, this is this makes this so much easier. Like, doing this the old-fashioned way inside of Simulation Craft could have taken, unless you really knew what you were doing, but could have taken quite some time. But how about, let's check out some top gear. This is the one that I end up using quite frequently, actually. And the reason for that is because things get pretty complicated, especially once you're reasonably geared and have lots of options in terms of legendaries and tier sets and that sort of thing. So here's all of my gear. The gear that's equipped, the gear that's in my bags. This is why we needed that kind of stuff from the Simulation Craft add-on. Let's say I'm gonna test out this legendary here. I'm gonna test that out. Leave the shoulders alone. Next, gonna leave that alone. I'm gonna leave probably the back alone, so no change in the cloak. Let's add this. We'll see what that does. We'll test out the legendary bracers. Maybe I'll add even the Tomb of Sargeras tier gloves. Add the legendary belt. Let's see here. Maybe I'll toss in the Tomb of Sargeras legs. And let's swap out a ring here. Let's try out Suffuse. Maybe I'll add this guy. Now, and then you can keep going here. And you'll notice here at the bottom where it says iterations, 560,000 out of 660,000. That means, so each gear set is being simmed 10,000 times. So 56 times 10,000 is 560,000. And again, because I am a patron, I get 660,000 iterations, whereas if you're not, I believe it's 330,000, so half of this. But you'll just be able to, you'll just have to select less gear at a time when you run the sim. So we're going to compare that stuff together. I'm going to leave the trinkets alone, rings, leave those where they're at. Should be pretty decent. All right, let's see what's going on here. Find top gear, and you'll notice where it said here, static legendary. I did not select a necklace, which means obviously that my legendary Pride as necklace is guaranteed to be there again. Now, this is a lot of numbers here, so this is going to take a little bit longer. So let's, what about, while that's running though, let's look at something else. And this is where, above everything else in that Simulation Craft and RaidBots can do for you, the one thing that I find to be the most useful is comparing relics. So my my relics here are 960, 945, and 945. But I have a 940 relic in my bag. While, I mean, it's one item level less than my other ones, but is it better? I don't know. It's hard to tell, and that would come down to its trait, the trait that it procs with the Crucible, and then the third trait. So if we drag this relic and drop it into the, like, test whatever it is in the Crucible interface, and now I can see what's going on here. And then whenever this other sim finishes, then we will go through this and I'll show you how, basically how to compare it to the other things. Let's see how this is doing over here. Nope, we're still at 71%. Well, okay, so I'm going to pause this and be right back in a second as soon as it's done running. Okay, so now the sim is done running, and here we can see my top gear selections. And if you scroll down, well, first of all, you can see that it is swapping out the Soul of the Netherlord legendary ring for Suffuse, which I was pretty certain it would, but then you can see all the different gear sets. And this is then comparing all of this stuff together so that I can see what's better and what's not. So that's pretty straightforward. And the best way to do this, my recommendation to you is whenever you're trying to figure this kind of stuff out, don't try to do it all at once. First of all, you'll run out of iterations. You'll be capped. You won't be able to do it. But so you got to do it kind of sequentially in logical order. It's actually a little bit like a puzzle. If you want to look at it that way, I guess. But I recommend first starting out with checking legendaries. What legendaries are better? So compare like all your different legendaries, swapping those types of things around, and then say, okay, these legendaries seem to be my better ones. So then go back into the game, equip those legendaries, since that's now your current best set of gear. Equip those legendaries, and then type /simc again, so that you can then import your character wearing those legendaries. Okay? And then once you do that, put it back into RaidBots, and then go back through again, as like think of it as like a second pass, and this time compare tier sets. So compare all the different like sets and combinations of tier sets you might have. Like, because I know like my mage, for example, as fire, I'm using still the Tomb of Sargeras 4-piece. But as Frost, I'm using the Nighthold 2-piece, the Tomb of Sargeras 2-piece, and the Antorus Burning Throne 2-piece. It's a big cluster. So I highly recommend going through one step at a time, trying to keep it all kind of, you know, trying to keep track of what you've done and what you've been doing, and just keep going back over it and over it. And eventually the gap that you'll be seeing between things should start lessening. All right. So then, like, once you do your set bonuses and things, you say, okay, well, I'm best optimized with these legendaries and these set bonuses. Now I'm going to go back down through and check maybe some different trinkets or different jewelry, different rings and necklaces, that type of stuff. And then go down through and do it that way. And then, once you got all of that and you're like, this is my best stuff, make sure all that's equipped again, and then start over. If you really want to be thorough, you can then start over. And the reason you do that is because chances are, whenever you compare legendaries the third time, say if you go back to the beginning then, you've compared legendaries, set bonuses, jewelry, and, you know, odds and ends of other pieces of gear, the odds are you're wearing much different gear this time around. So then you can go back through and test legendaries again, and then kind of repeat the process. And then eventually you'll get down to where very little is changing, and this will be your best gear. All right? And that's something you can start to do and start to kind of play around with. And that's pretty much the basics of that. So let's go back in, and I said about checking out relics. So, relics. Like I said, I have this 940 relic, and I also have a 945, so I'm going to assume I'm just going to rule it out right now that this 940 relic is not going to be better than this 960 relic. So I'm just going to eliminate having to test against that particular one. So let's, so now that we have, let's see here, let's put this guy in here, and now we can see what our other traits are from that relic. So let's open up RaidBots again, and I'm going to go back to the main page, and I'm going to go Relic Compare. So I'm going to make sure, I'm going to get rid of this again, put in the, my current stuff, and now here's all of my current relics. Now I'm going to actually change this thing here. Let's see, a split screen, does that work? That's not too bad. There, I'll try and slide that over a little bit. So now, with this now visible to you guys, so now these are what I currently have equipped here on RaidBots. So I'm going to say duplicate, and I'm going to add this other relic, this guy right here. So this is relic number 3, so that's going to mean get rid of this one, and we'll name this Screams of the Unworthy. So Screams, just typing it in here. If it finds it, here we go, Screams of the Unworthy. Now I have to add in the item level, so it's 940. And you would think that it would pick this up since it's in the bags, but I guess not. So 940 item level. Now let's try first with Torment the Weak. So let's change the Crucible row 2 to Torment the Weak, and then we're going to start with Inimitable Agony. So where's that at? All right, so now the next one I want to try is with Long Dark Night of the Soul. Well, actually, that one's a healing one. There's really not much point in testing that one. So let's go right over to this one. So let's change to Light's Embrace now. Let's see, and I have not done this yet, by the way. I'm learning this as we go too with this relic. So we got Light's Embrace. Where's that at? Right there. And now, you can then obviously do this one again, but like we said, there would be no point. That's a healing trait. Perdition. There we go. Now, just for the sake of it, because that was only having to do 2 comparisons, let's duplicate our first one again. So now that's down here. So let's get rid of that, and let's start over with this one. So that was Screams of the Unworthy. It was 940 item level. See, we got Torment the Weak. And, well, that's convenient. They're both the same traits. So that's definitely not going to be better. But let's try this again this way. Let's put in Light's Embrace just for the sake of being thorough, and then Perdition. And now we're done. Now we've got all the different possible combinations of traits to choose from the Netherlight-Crucible. And then we hit Compare Relics, and then it will spit out eventually what's the best. And this shouldn't take nearly as long. So let's move this back over here. Let's see how this does here. Alright, hey, and what do you know? No change. So it's using the exact same ones. But, interestingly enough, the one particular combination was only 0.9% less damage. But, so you can see that, that would have been an interesting comparison. A lower item level relic compared to a higher item level relic. But which one's better, we don't know, because of the way that the Netherlight-Crucible can either make you feel amazing or make you want to throw it out the window. But that's pretty much that. So that's honestly, that is the bulk of everything you need to know about this. Most of it is going to come down to you just tinkering around with it, playing with it, seeing what you can kind of puzzle work out of it. It's a huge game of like logical reasoning and processes of elimination. So, anyhow, this might be a new record for me. One of my shortest videos ever, only 21 minutes. How about that? So, if this video helped you guys out at all, or if you'd like to see more like this video, please drop me down a like, leave some comments in the video description, leave some comments down below the video description. And if you really want to see more like this, or check out anything else that I pump out eventually, please be sure to hit that subscribe button. So thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next one.